I'm going to go to the clock because according to the clock, it is... no, it's not. Does it say 6:58? It's 7 o'clock. According to the clock, I'm just going to call it as 7 o'clock.
7 o'clock. Woo-hoo.
Stitch break. So, yay. Apologies.
Yay.
Hey, Shez. We had a little bit of a bad run with stitch break this month. Was I sick? Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I had such a bad headache. And then last week, we all got told it was going to flood. Didn't, thank goodness.
No, but that was my fault. I pulled out.
Because the storm warning.
Yes.
Yeah. It's because you have curly hair, Cheryl, and as soon as it rains, you poof. So, but this time there was storm warnings, and indeed there was lightning while I was driving to work. But I thought, no,
still doing it.
Stitch break, no matter what. Heaps want stitch break. Alrighty, so we committed last time, if you remember, to doing Christmas stuff.
Yes.
And you have come up with 3 amazing Christmas things.
That's correct.
And we're going to do one every month. So October, November, and December. You know, we should maybe not do the December one on like the 27th. Maybe we should.
We did originally have lots of time. But luckily, these are so fast to do.
Whip it up.
Stress-free.
Stress-free. Now, speaking of stress-free, so the way Stitch Breaks works is you pay $5 and you get your pattern pieces. So
Yes, you do.
Oh, we'll go back to the pattern pieces in a second. But for your $5, you get your pattern pieces and your requirements, and then you can just watch this video and work out how to make it from this awesome video.
Yes.
We did try setting it up so when you bought it, you got an email, but that just didn't work at all. There was lots of trouble with email addresses and people things going to junk mail. So I've gone back to, if you purchase on the website, you click the download button. So as soon as you hit pay, it'll go back to a screen and you hit do it and download it. So we're going to go that because then there's no junk boxes to be worried about. Cool? Cool. All right. So, Cheryl, no more ado. We've got 6 watches now. I stalled us out to 6 peeps. So who's watching? Give us a thumbs up so I can see who it is. All right. So let's reveal what we got. So will I zoom out? Ta-da! So this is our Christmas tree placemat. I do. God bless you for making a white placemat, Cheryl. The stress for me with a white placemat in my house would be high, but it suits your decor perfectly. Now, what technique have you done there for that tree?
Well, it's sort of a raw edge applique quilt as you go.
Right. So
raw edge applique.
And is that sort of in the seams here? Like,
yes.
Yes.
You
seem a little bit irritated there. We should practice a little bit instead of sitting here talking before the video. Right. Yep.
So you have just...
Will we just
when
do
I
it?
Start, yeah.
Oh, okay. Seems like you're being a little bit... Now, some people were talking about what sort of pattern pieces you get for your $5. So this, for example, is some of tonight's pattern pieces that you get for your $5.
Yeah, so we've got lots of pages tonight.
Yeah. What's in there? Oh, is that Brad Pitt?
Sorry guys, this one's for me.
That's right. For copyright reasons, we can't include that in the pack. But also, too, if you have a look at that, the toner warning on my printer's like, you must replace the toner. I was like, no, it'll be fine.
That's all right. I'll still keep it.
So you can keep that.
I'll keep
all right,
that.
so these are your pattern pieces that you're going to get for tonight's class, minus one, which is over here on the ironing
There's
board.
3 of these.
Yep.
And there's 1 of these.
Yep. Beautiful.
So, the other product that I would insist on you using is a product called Web Bond.
Web Bond. Sounds familiar.
Bond.
I think we sell Web Bond, Cheryl.
Yes, you do.
So clever.
Yes, you do. $6 a metre.
Explain to the guys, the peeps, what Web Bond is.
It's like Vlisafix, if you're all familiar.
Do you want me to go and get it from over there? Because
No,
it would mean showing people the ceiling of the shop.
when we go to Iron, we can have a look.
Okay, yep.
So it's like Vlisafix, but it's extra strong.
Yeah, I actually quite like it. If you have a scan and cut, artistic edge, a silhouette, and you're cutting fabric out on that, or a cricket, I like it because it's stronger than Vlisafix and you can cut with those cutting machines. And for this sort of thing, much stronger than Vlisafix,
yeah,
right?
so what that means is you can do raw edge applique.
Yeah, so this is raw edge. I'm going to zoom right in. Oh, you're a manicure, Cheryl. So as you can see there, that is... Whoa, there we go. That is just stitched down. And there's no satin stitch.
That's correct.
Right, beautiful.
Yes, and I've got faith in it because of the Web Bond. And worst case scenario, because I've stitched so close, you might get a little bit of
fray.
But
that's sort of the thing with raw edge. It's always got a little bit.
That shabby chic, if I can use that old-fashioned term.
That's what I say when I haven't ironed like my blouse and it's all. I go, it's a bit shabby chic, don't I? I don't have a blouse. That's a lie. All right, so
Right. Okay.
JS Jen is trying to hit on Brad right in front of you here. She said, love Brad, but you hands off.
Well, you can love him second. That's a bit rude, isn't it? Sorry,
I
Jen.
feel that I should just hit the finish button right now. All right, so
I've been waiting much
let's just
longer.
move on. Now, will I come around to do the iron? I think so. Okay, let's see if I can make it look interesting while I do it. And
Okay.
then up over the top of your head.
Rightio.
Back down. Okay, great.
So I've prepared all my strips first
Oh
of
my
all.
God, I turned it around. Just quick flip it back the other way. I got really bad hair too. Like, it's terrible. Okay, professional, Cheryl. Professional.
So you should have stopped it when you said.
Right. I'm going to put this on Facebook and I'm going to put it on YouTube and everyone's going to see my hair. But that's cool. I'm good. All right.
Okay.
Oh, the table.
That was the table, guys. That was the table.
Do you want me to hit finish and start again?
I think so. Delete.
All right.
Okay, so these are your pattern pieces you cut out. Where am I? Here on the fold.
Right. So cut out your fabric on the fold.
Yes.
So you end up with a long strip.
Yes.
Right.
And then on each one of them, there is the top and the bottom one are just blank.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And then the other ones have got a placement for
Don't burn yourself on that iron.
no.
Right. Ah, so that's what
Each
this
of those
is.
shapes.
So you
Yes.
will cut these bits here. You will cut out of your purple.
Yes,
Yep.
and we skipped that little bit. This is so you fuse the
Web bond.
web bond.
7827, whatever it's called. So you would trace your web bond over this. Yeah?
Yes.
Right.
Sorry, we did skip that.
Yep.
So trace that onto your web bond.
And I have done a video on applique before that explains how
so
to do
you
all
can
that.
go back to that.
Yep. Very, but that was much more professional because you weren't here, so I was very.
Fuse the web bond.
Someone said scary. Sue said scary scarecrow for Halloween. I know she's not talking about my hair.
Hey, Sue.
Gemma, I need a haircut. You call Gemma and tell her I need my haircut. Keep going. People will be like, Penny is so narcissistic. Right, go.
Okay, so yeah, so then you cut out the shapes. That's got the web bond on the back.
Right.
Okay.
And that web bond is, it's like, okay, so see, it's, we can't really see it, but there's like,
No.
it's, you can feel it. It's like a glue on top of that. You can hear
Yeah.
it? See that? You can feel that like a glue on there. Right.
Okay. So then you get your one of your strips.
Yep.
Place that on. Line it up on the end, like that's cut on the fold.
Yep.
And you can make them longer if you want to. Make
Oh,
them
so you can
longer.
make like a table runner if you
Yeah.
wanted to. You'd do more than one tree, like lots of trees.
Yes, you could. Yes, absolutely, you could. And then you just line that up on the template in the appropriate place and keep it straight. And you will notice that the tree piece is the same width
As the,
as the strip.
aren't you worried it's going to get caught in the seam allowance, Cheryl? Oh, I'll keep my mouth shut. We'll see what's going on. Right. You know, you could do a better job of hiding your irritation with me. That was an eye roll. I really ruptured your eyeball. Okay.
Okay, so fused on.
Fused on.
Now, Penny brought up the seam allowance,
I did.
so which is a coincidence because she doesn't know this. So that's the trunk and my two pieces of the tree. And now this one, the very top one, is about 1/4 of an inch below the top
Oh, it is too.
because that's your seam allowance, and if you do 1/4 inch seam allowance, then it doesn't
you
take
could
away
chop
your
off the top of the
point.
tree. So
Yes.
that one is meant to be short.
that is meant to be short, so don't get a panic.
Right.
Okay. Now, we're going to back over.
I'm going to do it very
Right.
carefully this time and hold my head right back here in case I bump it. All right. So now we've got the pieces and you've got, what's that? You've got a piece of,
So the top one and the bottom one are just blank. There's
Right.
nothing on there.
right.
So I'm just pick that up and lay it down onto my wadding.
Yep.
The size of the wadding is on the pattern that
Right.
you cut out and the backing fabric as
Yep.
well. So I've left a little bit extra there because the wadding's a bit bigger.
Just to square it off, you know, tidy it up.
Yep.
Okay.
Then I'm picking up piece number 1. All the pieces on the pattern piece are numbered as
I saw
well.
that. Yes, lovely.
So right sides together,
Yep.
and I'm lining that up very carefully so the two edges line up. Now I'm using a 1/4 inch foot I mean, I'm not using a 1/4 inch foot, I'm using a over toe foot, but I've set the needle to 1/4 inch.
Ah, yes, and that is something I've also done a video on. But the thing about a 1/4 inch, people think you need a 1/4 inch foot to get a 1/4 inch seam, but all you do is you mark a 1/4 inch on a piece of fabric or whatnot, line it up with the edge of the foot, put your needle up over that 1/4 inch mark, and boom, you've got a 1/4 inch seam allowance, right? Just by changing the width of the needle.
That's correct.
Alrighty. So also tonight, Cheryl and I should say that we were finding we had a lot of trouble. All of our beautiful big machines have LED lights. In fact, the overhead lights that we use for lamps and things are all LED. And the downside is it was causing a strobe effect on our videos. And I did a lot of research to try and work out how to fix it, and then I thought, why don't I just turn down the lights on the sewing machine? So we've dulled the brightness ever so slightly, which means it's not so bright under there, but sewing white on white, that's probably good anyway, so we can see it, and no strobe. Okay, look, oh, and you folded it over.
Yeah.
That's it.
So that's a 1/4 as you go. Now I'm just sewing through wadding tonight, and you'll find out why later.
Okay, right.
But you can sew through the backing in that technique. Now just stand up because I've got to iron that.
We didn't really think that through very much. I didn't think it through. Okay, good.
Right.
And so you're just folding that open?
Yeah,
and
so just
ironing it
make
flat.
sure it's sort of pulled up.
Yep.
Just don't burn yourself.
There's a little bit, like I don't have steam in the classroom irons because the water leaks out if people put the iron down flat, that sort of thing. There's a bit of a myth that you don't use steam with fabric. I use steam all the time. Do you?
I do.
Do you? And have you noticed too that if you do like a homespun or something and you make it really hot, the homespun will change colour? But then when you finish, it goes back to its original colour. So
yeah,
it's like,
so you know where you're iron.
Yeah. That's exactly right. It's like remember those t-shirts where you used to, a gym shirt, you used to rub that bit and it'd like change colour? Hypercolour.
Hypercolour.
Did you ever have a hypercolour tee?
I did not.
Did you? I was going to say, there's no way you had a hypercolour tee.
No, I didn't because I was, dare I say, way too cool. But I was also just that little bit old.
Joel had a hypercolour tee for sure. Surely he had a hypercolour tee. Do you know what I found with that hypercolour tee? Whenever I went to the gym, do you know where I would get the hottest? Right, yeah. So I stopped wearing my hypercolour. Stopped going to the gym too, so that fixed that.
Yeah.
All right, so you've just done a 1/4 inch seam again.
Yep.
And then fold it over.
So sorry, there's a lot of up
I'm
and
just
down.
going to lean right back.
You lean right back.
Oh.
Every time I do this, a piece gets stuck to the bottom of it.
Karen has said the myth is that steam stretches the fabric. If anything, it'd shrink it, wouldn't it? You think?
Well, I think if you use good quality fabric, you're okay.
Now,
I suppose dressmaking fabrics are a little bit different because they have different...
Yeah, because you can't go full heat on your rayon on your dressmaking fabric.
Yeah, but your patchwork cottons...
And Sue says, steam is a way of seeing if the fabric will shrink if you haven't pre-washed. I say, no guts, no glory. You just chuck that red next to the white and you just chuck it through that sewing machine and wash it and cross your fingers. How many times have you seen someone's quilt go awry because they've done that red and the red's bled into the white?
But it's funny you should say about crossing fingers because every time I do, excuse me, I go like this.
Do you?
Yeah.
Is that what normal people do?
Yeah. But I do it. I actually do it. I don't just talk about doing it. I actually do it.
That's funny. So just while you're sewing that there, that piece that you put on, the pointy side is down, it's skinnier at the bottom, and the fat side, so when you fold it up, it ends up that way. So it's down that way, so you fold it up that way, yeah? Cool.
Yes.
Right, keep going.
I thought for a minute when you said skinny at the bottom. Yeah, that's right. That's exactly what I meant to do. I
told you, Cheryl. We made a Christmas star. I think that visibility is okay. Much better than the strobing, I think. The strobing was just awful. How much do you love those scissors?
Oh, just I can't tell you how much.
So the ironing board needs a wash. Or a new cover. We should do an ironing board cover for a stitch break project. Cheryl?
What a great idea.
So those of you who don't know, Cheryl has her own little pattern company, Heidi Ho Patterns, and you've got all of your patterns online, right, that you can download as a PDF as well?
I do.
So how much are your patterns online?
I keep them to between $4.50 and $8.50.
I keep telling you, there's so many pictures and instructions in those patterns. You should be charging way more than that. But I don't sound like a broken record. So what are you doing there? You're smoothing it out.
Yeah.
Groovy.
And I'm just making sure as I put this one down that the tree's all in line.
So it ends up wonky
and it's
like
not
that.
like that.
Yep, cool. Karen says visibility is great. Well, that's
good, Karen.
Because my screen is so dirty too. There's finger marks all over it. Someone sent me a message. I'm busy, guys. I'll just park that for now. All right.
There was a Karen that won from Caboolture that won an incredible prize from Wild Woolly. I noticed
don't
on
understand
Facebook.
what you're talking about. What is Wild Woolly?
Remember that when we were at the show, the Craft Alive show just recently?
Yeah.
And that
the
stand
lady that
across
made
it.
the little dogs and everything. Yeah.
So she was at the Brisbane show.
Oh, that's cool.
And it was a Karen from Caboolture that won the big prize.
Oh, what did she win? Do you know?
Oh, about 26 balls of Wild Woolly wool.
You know, Sandy did some, my sister did some wool felting and she was allergic to the wool. She had to stop doing it.
Oh, really?
Yep. Alrighty. Oh, stitch length on this one? Anything particular we need to know?
Look, I've gone for a 3
Yeah.
because
You're doing your quilting.
I'm going through the wadding.
That's such a cool review. Look at reveal. Look how that tree just is there. Really, you could almost do this as a quilt block, couldn't you? Could you just cut this like down to like 10 inches or whatever when you're finished and make it into a quilt block? If you didn't want to do a placemat? Tons of potential.
Absolutely.
And then one more strip along the top?
Yeah.
All right.
And then it's done. So you know why I said it was so quick and easy.
I really like, honestly, the fact that you just come up with these things, Cheryl, it's amazing. Oh, my arm hurts. I'm going to swap arms for a while. Okay.
Oh, I forgot to check.
What did you forget to do?
I was going to make sure that I didn't sew off the top of my point.
Oh, that's right. You're going to check that you didn't chop the point off at the top.
I was very careful with the first one I did.
I've always been impressed by Cheryl's preparedness for these sort of things is astonishing. I come in at the last minute and you pre-plan it so much. And it's important to remember that you made this how long ago? Did you get it? Cheryl, that is spot on. So with you've done here, so these edges are caught in the seam, right?
Yeah, so I've missed that little one a bit.
Oh, no, if you didn't tell, I'll keep the camera like this and people won't know, right? So,
so there.
It's because you didn't pin it because you were busy getting it done in a hurry, so don't sweat it. What you could do is you could unpick it. We're not unpicking it. But if you didn't want this raw edge, right, so you're about to do something to make this raw edge.
Yes.
But if you didn't want it raw edge, could you put a satin stitch over the edges instead?
Yeah, actually, I should have mentioned that earlier on. If you don't want the raw edge, as Penny said, you can applique it. And what you would do is do that before you stitch it down.
That's right, because you want the applique, you mean the zigzag satin stitch sort of number.
Stitch.
Yeah, and you want the satin stitch caught in the seam. So you could blanket stitch it if you want to. Or if it's a Christmas tree, you could even do decorative stitches over the edges.
Yes.
And then that would have to be done on each piece before it got attached together. So you end up with those edges tucked in. All right, so what's next, Jez?
Now, I'm just going to quickly change. Now, I've got that sparkly metallic thread.
Mm-hmm.
It's because it's Christmas.
So I don't have sparkly, I've got just ordinary, boring metallic thread.
Ordinary.
I don't carry the sparkly one.
Any metallic thread is nice at Christmas.
I will say with metallic thread, there's a couple of things you need to be mindful of, and the biggest one is if you can get your thread to spool off and upwards rather than sideways for metallic thread. It likes a vertical spool stand if you can do it. What are you looking for, babe?
Nothing.
Right, good. Okay. So after we do round the tree, will we do right around the tree tonight?
No, I'm just going to do part.
So people can see how to do it. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm going to put the phone right here. Can you see if I do that? No? Okay. Okay. So I will line it up so people can see how you're lining it up first of all.
Yes,
so
do that.
You have your needle position. So you've got the fabric, just the edge of the fabric, just at the edge of the inside edge of the foot, right?
Yes, I might just move that needle a little bit bigger.
This is an open toe foot. A lot of people won't have an open toe, but then you would use your satin stitch foot, like your F foot for Janome, N foot for Brother, B foot for Husqvarna, and Faf. I think it's a D foot for Benina, but
just
you
whatever
want that
it is that you
fancy
get
stitch foot.
More visibility.
Yep, and you need to find a spot in the foot to line up the edge of the fabric and then you move the needle into position.
Yeah, so that's why I've lined it up on the inside of that toe, because that gives me a solid guide to travel
to do
along.
it. Should that be in the take-up thing? That thread? Like, I'm not sure about that might be threaded wrong. Is that right? I was going to try and whisper, but I don't think I could pull that off, Cheryl. So just so everyone can see that sometimes you need to make sure you check that take-up lever is threaded.
What do they say more?
Well, I don't know. There. Guess you can't see again. All right, let's just stay over here. All right.
What's that? More speed, less haste. Is that how the saying
I've never
goes?
heard that saying before, Cheryl.
Oh, your mum would know. Your mum would be saying yes. I could be telling that to Penny for years.
Your mum always said to me, act like a lady. I said, you call me Penelope, that's as lady as you're going to get, I'm afraid. All right, go for it.
Okie dokie.
Yep. So what have you got, a straight stitch here?
Yeah, I've got a straight stitch, but you can also do the triple stitch, which is
Backwards and forwards
backwards and forwards to make it more substantial.
Have you done like a smaller stitch length just so it doesn't cover so much distance when you do it, or?
I have got it on 3 at the moment.
Yeah.
But if 2, I had it on 2.5 for the last one. So you can see just the way I've pivoted around. Went crooked there. So Penny might explain the importance of the needle when you're using a metallic thread.
Oh, absolutely. So the needle that you want to use, okay, so you can buy, or first of all, I'm glad you brought up needles, Cheryl, because I'm going to chuck a bit of a tantrum for a second. A lovely big 500E over there that we service, big Janome embroidery machine. Trouble for that machine was caused by this horrible brand of needles called butterfly needles. Butterfly. You can buy them from department stores. And they're made so badly that these needles are actually made backwards. So when you put your needle in, it's normally flat to the back. If you put this needle in flat to the back, the hole and the scarf and everything is all backwards. It's all made wrong. And we see those needles give people trouble all the time. So honestly, if you go to buy a pack of needles and they look cheap and nasty, don't buy those needles. If you can buy Schmetz, get Schmetz. Schmetz are a really good quality needle. Now, type of needle for this, some people use a metallic needle. I personally prefer a top stitch because it's got a nice big eye on it, so you can get that metallic thread through. If I had a little bit of a warning, I might have run over and gotten a top stitch needle so I could show people, but it's all the way over there, and that seems like in my enormous store, it's over in the needle department over there, so I can't go. All right.
No.
Okay.
So you can see how I'm just following around.
Yep. So what if, Cheryl, what if you go one too far? What if you do...
Oh, like I have then because I was just going to stop.
So what if you go one... So I'll zoom right in so people can see what happened. Right, so you have gone one step too far. Needle's still down and you've gone, oh no, I've gone one step too far. What do you do?
The only time ever you turn the flywheel backwards.
So half a turn backwards is lifting that needle up, and it's like a time machine. It has taken that needle back out, so it hasn't finished the stitch.
It's undone the stitch.
And then you're moving the fabric, sliding it back under the foot, and then needle goes back down.
So we're back down to where we
And now
were.
you can pick it up and pivot it and keep on going. And I think that's probably the handiest thing you'll take from this technique tonight is everyone has sewn something where they've gone one stitch too far and then regretted it. If you don't let the needle go back up, you can undo the stitch. Cool?
Yes.
All right.
And then you can continue on.
Pivot around. All right.
And so it's at this point often you notice whether you've gone too far or not.
Yep, when you pivot it.
Yeah.
So you can always go back. Yep. Cool. So really good advice is to make your machine stop with the needle in the down position.
Yes.
Most machines that have a computerized screen, sorry, screen like that, you can actually opt to have the needle stop in the up-down position. If you have a Janome machine, if you stop with the needle down, if you start by having the needle down, when you stop, the needle will stay down.
Can I just show you my favourite button?
Yes.
This one here, if I activate that, my needle, every time I take my foot off the foot control, the needle will go down and the foot will come up.
Which is pivot function is what it's called.
Do you want to see?
Yep.
Oh.
Foot goes up. So then needle's down to hold it in place. Foot's up, you can pivot. And then foot in the pedal again.
I forgot to go slow there for a minute.
And then zoom.
See?
See?
It's just a little bit. It's not a full lift.
But you can change it, you can make it real
it's
fat.
enough.
So if you're doing something really thick like a costume, you can do it.
All right.
So that's called, if you have, so many people have a Husqvarna, a Sapphire range, FAF. It actually has this, you turn this function on and it'll have an automatic pivot function. A lot of people don't know that about their FAF. Okay, so.
Right, so I'm going to stop that there.
That's right. Yep.
So the next thing I'm going to do is square it all off.
Right.
If you have, when you have your square ruler,
Yep.
use these lines as a straight line.
So you would find a long red line on your ruler and line up here. And Cheryl, if you go real quick, there's one hanging on the end of the stand, on the end of the counter there. Do you see it? Hanging up in front of the mat. Come this way to the right. That's it. So you would line that red line up with here.
Yeah.
I think I've done a video on that too. I have done so many videos.
You have. Because we don't know, well, you have.
Right.
Because we don't know where it's straight. So I've got that red line on
Sorry, I was looking up the top. Show me again. Which red line?
the red line
Yep.
on that seam. So now I know that that's parallel.
So move your hand. So this
Oh,
seam
sorry.
here is now lined up with there. So it means if you trim this off here, it's going to be at right angles.
At right
Yep.
angles. Yeah.
Yep, beautiful.
So that's not mentioned enough times.
No, cutting's one of those things people just assume you know how to do it. Yep.
So what you want to do is you're making a set of 6 placemats, sew them all to this point and then cut them all together.
Right.
So they're all exactly the same size as each other.
Mm-hmm.
Then you got your backing fabric,
Right.
the same size as what these are.
Mm-hmm.
And then sew right sides together, leaving the little opening in the bottom
So you can turn it.
so you can turn it.
Yep.
So turn it around.
And then you end up with that guy there.
Yes. My favourite corner tool.
Yep.
So with this one, I've turned it around. I've top stitched inside about a bit more than 1/4 of an inch.
Yep. And why did you
And-
top stitch it particularly?
Just to hold it all in place so it's all held together.
And that'd hold up the little gap that you opened up as well. It'd be finishing it off. Yep.
And I have gone the extra mile with this one, and this depends on time. I actually quilted through my Christmas tree after I put the backing on.
Oh, great.
So I very carefully did that. On this one I did it first, but if you're careful with it you can do it afterwards. So I've quilted around the Christmas tree, and then I have stitched
In the little
in
channels.
each channel there.
So I will
very
say
carefully.
that if you're just doing light stuff like Parlin, you wouldn't need your walking foot.
That's correct.
But if it's the thicker stuff, your Pellin, maybe H640, wadding, anything that's thicker, you really should put a walking foot on, because by the time you do that, you're going to get wrinkles when you get to this edge here, aren't you?
Yes.
Yeah.
And the great risk of that is because it's already stitched.
Yeah,
you don't
get,
want it
no,
to
to
walk.
travel while you do it. Yep, cool.
Yeah.
Well, that's fantastic. I really, really like that, Cheryl. I love the purple on the silver. That's really, really cool. So now we aren't going to show next month's project, but
No.
next month's project is designed to match this. So
Yes.
it's to use with this,
So
right?
buy extra fabric.
Yep.
Just
Yep.
a little bit extra.
Yep. So maybe 2 meters. Will that be enough? All right. I think I'll call it a day because that's nearly half an hour. Done.
Yeah.
All right. So thank you very much for watching tonight. If you like this, please give us a thumbs up like this. Thumbs up. And if you could share it, that'd be cool too. $5 to download the pattern, and a special shout out to those ladies who I see every month. I know they're buying a pattern for themselves and a friend, and they pay for 2 patterns, and we really, really appreciate that.
Yes.
If downloading a pattern is not your thing, you can come into the shop and we'll print one out for you, but there's not a lot of toner, so I don't know, maybe maybe not.
You'll need your glasses.
Alrighty, so next month, we don't know what date it is yet, but we will let you guys know, and
It'll
we will
be
try.
sooner rather than
That's
later.
right, sooner rather than later. And the next month one you'll use in the same sort of vein as this, but something completely cool. I think we should go. Say bye, Cheryl. Say bye.
Bye.
Should we do a flip selfie? No, Cheryl. I'm